You are sitting in a waiting room. Your phone is at 1%. There is nothing to do. And within 90 seconds, something in your chest starts to itch. That itch has a name. Scientists call it boredom. But here is the strange part. Boredom is not a malfunction. It is not your mind failing to entertain itself. It is one of the oldest survival systems you have. And it has been quietly running in the background of every human life for at least 200,000 years. Think about that for a second. What is boredom actually for? Most people treat it like static, like dead air, something to kill, fill, scroll away. But evolutionary psychologists see it differently. They see boredom as a signal. A very old, very specific signal. And once you understand what it is signaling, you will never look at a quiet, empty afternoon the same way again. Start 200,000 years ago. A small group of early humans on the African savanna. Resources are scattered. Predators are patient. Food does not show up on a schedule. For these humans, doing the same thing for too long was not relaxing. It was dangerous. If you stayed in one spot, foraging the same patch of ground, you would eventually exhaust it. If you kept using the same hunting strategy, prey would learn to avoid it. If you stopped scanning the horizon because nothing had happened yet, that was exactly when something would happen. So evolution needed a mechanism. Something that would make stillness and repetition feel bad. Not painful, just uncomfortable enough to push you toward change. That mechanism is boredom. Dr. John Eastwood, a psychologist at York University, has spent years studying exactly this. His research describes boredom as the unfulfilled desire for satisfying activity. Not the absence of activity. The absence of satisfying activity. That distinction matters. You can be busy and still bored. You can be doing something and still feel that itch, because your brain is not asking, "Are you occupied?" It is asking, "Is this engaging your attention in a way that matters?" Here is where it gets stranger. Boredom is not just an emotion. It behaves like a built-in compass. It points you away from situations with diminishing returns and toward situations with unknown potential. Psychologist James Dankert has run studies showing that bored brains do not simply go quiet. They go searching. Functional imaging shows that when people are placed in genuinely boring conditions, certain brain networks tied to mind-wandering and exploration become more active, not less. So why does this matter to you, sitting in a waiting room 200,000 years later with no saber-toothed cats and no foraging patches? Because your brain did not get the memo that the environment changed. It still runs the same ancient software. When you feel bored, your brain is still asking the same question your ancestors' brains asked. Is there something more valuable I could be doing right now? Should I move? Should I explore? Should I change strategy? The savannah is gone. The question is not. This is where the modern mirror gets uncomfortable. Because in the ancient world, boredom had nowhere to go but forward, into real exploration, real risk, real discovery. In the modern world, boredom has somewhere very easy to go. Your phone. Dr. Sandi Mann, a psychologist who has researched boredom extensively, found something counterintuitive in her studies. When people were given a boring task and then a creative task afterward, the ones who had been bored first performed better at the creative task. Boredom, in her findings, was not the enemy of creativity. It was the trigger for it. The discomfort pushed the mind to generate its own stimulation, its own ideas, its own escape routes. That is the ancient mechanism working exactly as designed. But there is a problem. your phone now intercepts that signal before it can finish its job. The moment you feel the itch of boredom, you have a release valve sitting in your pocket that responds in under 1 second. No exploration required. No risk. No new hunting ground, no new idea, no new thought generated from scratch. Just a feed that refreshes infinitely, engineered by people who studied the exact same psychology you are learning about right now, specifically to catch that itch before it builds into anything. So the system that once pushed your ancestors toward forests, coastlines, and new tools now gets absorbed by a screen before it pushes you anywhere at all. This is not a story about willpower. It's a story about a signal being short-circuited. Think about what gets lost when boredom never completes its job. Eastwood's research links chronically unresolved boredom to lower life satisfaction and difficulty with sustained attention over time. Not because boredom itself is harmful, because the resolution never happens. The compass keeps spinning without ever pointing you anywhere real. And here's the twist most people never expect. The most innovative, original ideas humans have ever had often did not arrive during stimulation. They arrived during boredom. Researchers studying mind-wandering, including work associated with cognitive scientist Jonathan Schooler, have found that the unfocused, drifting state your brain enters when understimulated is strongly associated with creative insight and problem-solving. Letting your mind wander is not wasted time. For your brain, wandering is the searching mechanism doing exactly what it evolved to do. Hunting for new patterns instead of new prey. So what does this mean for the next time you feel that itch? It means the discomfort is not a glitch to be eliminated the instant it appears. It is a nudge, a 200,000-year-old nudge, that something about your current situation has plateaued, and your mind is ready to look elsewhere. Reach for your phone immediately, and you silence the nudge before it can tell you anything useful. Sit with it a little longer, and something else tends to happen. A new thought arrives. An old memory resurfaces. A solution to a problem you'd stopped consciously thinking about quietly surfaces on its own. This does not mean boredom always feels good. It is not supposed to. Discomfort was the entire point. A compass that felt pleasant to ignore would have failed its job a long time ago, and the humans who listened to it were the ones who found the new water source, the new shelter, the better way to do things. The ones who didn't tended to stay exactly where they were until staying there stopped being viable. You inherited that same compass. It still works. It is just pointed at a different landscape now. Not a savanna. A mind. Your own mind asking, in its oldest possible language, whether there is something more worth your attention than what is currently in front of you. So tonight, when you find yourself reaching for your phone at 1% battery in a waiting room, pause for just a moment before you do. That itch in your chest is not boredom failing you. It's the oldest part of you, still trying to save your life.